Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever, wherever you find yourself. Welcome to the Global Power Platform Bootcamp Accra edition. And this is a global event and the gathering of the Power Platform Rangers, as you might want to call it. We, for some reason, were not able to have our session run through the period of the 21st through to the 22nd of February. So we had to push our community event to today. We have an interesting lineup of speakers that are going to speak to us today. Myself included, we're going to also have a panel conversation on the Power Platform. But primarily, this event is just to showcase, to share, to learn everything you want to learn about the Power Platform. Our first speaker is going to walk us through an interesting demo on the use of Power BI. And like we like to do it, we always would want to, give you the hands-on experience so that you can get some benefit into it. My name is Samuel Adjani. I am the co-organizer for the Accra Power Platform User Group, which is hosting this global bootcamp. We're streaming live on most of my socials. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on LinkedIn, X, and then also Twitch. So wherever you find yourself watching this, we'll be appreciative if you can send us some like, drop your location, and also don't forget to drop your questions about the Power Platform to us. We would be able to answer that for you. So let me bring in Mr. Festus. And Festus, if you're with us, I don't know if you can come off camera so that we can probably see you and introduce you to our guest. But else, you can share your screen and then we can jump into your demo. So Festus is also a Microsoft MVP and also a Microsoft MCT. In the business applications, but primarily in Power BI side of things. So yeah, we are ready for you, Festus, anytime that you are. So if you can just share your screen, and then we can go from there. Okay, awesome. So let me bring Festus screen here and put Festus.
Hello, I believe I can be heard.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Nice, nice, nice. I believe we are all doing well.
We're blessed. It's a Saturday morning, calm one, but yeah, we're blessed to have you to share with us, some of the interesting things. So yeah, we're blessed to be here today.
Okay, great. So, what we'll be looking at today would be on how to design modern dashboards within Power BI. So, I've already built this already. So, I'll just take you through some of the ways that you'll be able to transform your boring Power BI dashboard into an interesting dashboard, right? By leveraging some of the modern tools and features that we have within Power BI. So if you take a look at this page, I have this first page here, which is like a normal dashboard, right? So we'll look at some of the ways that we can transform this, even though this doesn't look bad, but we look at some of the ways that we can transform this into modern dashboards like this one, right? Like having these backgrounds there. Now, sometimes when you are designing within Power BI, especially with the dashboard background, some would prefer to do the design within PowerPoint or Figma or Canva, and then they can use the background or the image as the background within Power BI. Now, if you also want to design it within Power BI itself, there are a lot of ways that you can go around it, right? So you can use shapes, you can use images and others. But the first thing I'm going to take you through is how you'll be able to transform one of the new visualizations that we have in Power BI. And then you can transform this into very nice background for your Power BI dashboard. In fact, I've used it for a couple of dashboards and they look amazing. Okay. So this is just one of them. So this wasn't done outside Power BI. It was done inside Power BI using the CAD visual. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is to take you through some of the ways that you'll be able to transform any existing dashboard that you have into a very nice dashboard by adding some background to it, right? So there are a couple of ways, like I said, that you can design a background within Power BI. So when I go to insert, here we have element, and then we have text box, we have buttons, we have shapes, and then we also have image. So if I want to design or do my background within Power BI, I can use shapes to be able to do this. So right from here, when I go to insert, and then we come to shapes, we have rectangles here. We also have basic shapes that you can also use. And then we also have block arrows. So I'm going to pick rounded rectangle. So I can bring this one here. I can resize it anyhow I want it. Okay. So with this, there are a lot of formatting options that it comes with. So once I have this shape here, I can go to the format pane. At the moment, it's turned off, so I'm going to activate it. And these are the formatting options that it comes with. So right from here, we have shape style. When I expand on this option here, you see that we have the rounded corners. So you see how the rounded corners look like. So I can turn it off completely, or I can make it 50%, and you see how this looks like. Now, most of the time, for you to have a good background, I normally prefer to maintain it either at between 4 and then 5, or maybe 5% is fine. So you come up with something like this with just a little roundness, right? Then we also have the fill. So you can also change the fill of the shape from here. Now, most of the time, what I do is that I will pick a gray or maybe a lighter color as the background. Then I'm going to turn the shape into a white background so it will be able to stand out, right? These are some of the principles that you can incorporate. So I can come in here with a fill. I'm going to pick white. Now, when you click outside, you see how this looks like. Now, this has some borders, right? If you prefer to have the borders on, that is fine. So we also have the options that you can also apply to the border. So you can actually turn off the border. In this case, you wouldn't have any border or outline. And then you can also turn it on. Once it is on, you can also customize the colors. So maybe I want to use this color for it. You see how this looks like. Maybe I want to use this color here. And then this also comes up with its own appearance. Now we also have the width. So if you want to increase the border or the width of the border, you can also use this to increase it, right? I can select it again. Maybe I pick lighter color like this. Then you click outside and then you see how this also looks like. Now, most of the time, depending on the design, most of the time I prefer to turn off my border. But if you want it to be there, it also adds some layer of design to your dashboard, right? So I'm going to turn it off based on my personal preference, right? You can also maintain it if you want. So once I have this here, you see that the background is also white, so it's not making this stand out. What I can do is to click outside. When you click outside, when nothing is selected within the canvas, and then you come to format, you see that we have the canvas settings and we have the canvas background. I'm going to pick this, and here we have the color. So you can click and then pick a different color. Now, once you change the color from the beginning, you wouldn't see the impact because here we have the transparency set to 100%. Now, if I wanted to come in so I'll be able to see it, I can turn off the transparency, and this is how the background looks like, right? So I can change the color if I want to. So something like this. Okay. So even without the shape, this looks great as compared to the original design, right? What I need to do is just reposition or rearrange or resize my shapes, and everything will fit into it, right? So I can even remove this. We'll come back to it. So once we have this, I have to make sure all the objects are aligned, right? So we have this here. Then I have to make sure my bike is also here. This also comes in here. Okay. Now for this to fit with the design, I can turn off the background for this shape. So I can select it. When you go to size and style, we have background, so we can actually turn it off and then give it a different color. Then it can fit with the design that we are doing, right? So you see how just changing the color changes the whole design. Now I'm going to undo and then continue with our discussions, right? So I'll come back to the canvas background and I'm going to pick a gray or maybe something like this. And then when it comes to the transparency, I'm going to use it to make it more lighter than what you are seeing. So I can increase the transparency to maybe 90. And then we come up with something like this, maybe 85. Yeah, so something like this. Okay. Then my shape will come in. So I can have the shape here, right? And then just like what we explored, when you come to the shape style, the fill, we can pick white and then we turn off the border. So we have this here. Then we can go to the roundness and then we can reduce the roundness of the shape. So once I have this one here, you see that it is covering the visualization. Now, if I want to send this to the back, what I need to do is that once the shape is selected, we can go to format. And then we have send backwards. When you click on the drop down, you just pick send to back. So this will be at the back of the visualization. So once we have this here, I can bring this down here. Okay, great. So you can select it and then make sure it's properly arranged in relation to the shapes. So I can bring this on here and then I can resize the shapes or the visualizations. Then we have this one here. Now you see how, even though we are not done, but you see how this has added another layer of visualization to this, right? So once I'm done with this, I can create a copy. So Control C, Control V. That is how we do it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just make use of what we have. Then I can resize it nicely for the other part. Now you see that this is also covering this one. So you can go to Format, Send to Back. And then we have this at the back of the visuals. So you can resize this for them to fit on the shape. And then I can bring this one here. And you see how this looks like, right? I can create a copy and then bring it to my last visualization or last but one. Also make sure we have this one here. Ensure you have some white space around the shapes and then the design, okay? So they'll be able to stand out. I can select this, go to format, send to back. Now when you click outside, this is how this looks like. I can then resize the visual. Okay, and then we have this one here. I'll copy this. I'm doing it for the last visuals on the top. So Control C, Control V, and then I can resize this, right? Okay, great. Then I can go to Format, Send to Back. I click outside. This is how this looks like. Now let's do some few adjustments to this. So let this come here a bit. Now let's maintain it and then rearrange the objects. So I can bring the bike here, right? And then bring this one here. I'm going to resize this a bit, then send it up, right? So now when you click outside, you see how this looks like. So just using the shape, we have transformed how this report looks like. So this is about using the shape. But if you want to come up with something more sleek, something more interesting, right? You can make use of the new card visual that we have in Power BI. So I'm going to create a copy of this. So I'm going to duplicate it. So we have this here. Now, when you come into the visualizations, so here you notice that we have build. So this will give you all the visualizations that we have within Power BI. Now you notice that we have this 1, 2, 3. When you hover on it, it says card into bracket new. So this is one of the new visualizations that we have, though it's not all that new, but this is one of the latest visualizations that we have within Power BI. And since its introduction, it has gone through a number of updates and modifications, right? So you can leverage this card visualization to also add some sort of sleek design to your dashboard, especially when it comes to the background. So I can let's get rid of this guy. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these shapes. And then I can go to the visuals. The same thing when you go to insert, we also have the visuals here. On the home tab, you also see it here. So depending on the option that you want to use, you just click on there. So you see that we have 1, 2, 3, which is normal card, which has been there since the beginning or inception of Power BI. Then we also have one that comes with a lightning icon, right? This is the new one that we have. So I'm going to click on it and then it comes in here. Now you see that this is not like the normal shape that we saw. It requires you to provide some data for it to be populated. So here, when you select it, under the build, it asks for the data that you want to visualize. So I can pick one of the data that I have, maybe this. Okay, so we have it here. But my goal is not to show this value. My goal is to just get the shape. So what I will do is to go to format. So here we have it formatting options here. Then we have the call out values. I'm going to expand this and you see that we have values and currently it is turned on. I'm going to turn it off. And then when you scroll down, you see that we have label. I also turn this the label that is left. I'll turn that off as well. And we have just the shape. Now this comes with interesting formatting that you can apply. So let's see how it works. So here, when it comes to the formatting, you see that we have the option for cards. I'm going to expand this. And then with the shape, I'm going to change it from rectangle and I'm going to pick rounded rectangle, just like the other one. And you can use this to customize the roundness. Okay. With this, you see that we also have customized style. You can turn it on and even the roundness, you can decide to customize which side of the shape you want it to be rounded. So for example, if the bottom, I don't want it to be rounded, okay, I can just focus on the top. So you have the top left. We can round the top left. So you see how this looks like. Now let me turn off the background. We'll come back to this for you to see the impact. So to turn off the background, I'll come to size and style, and then I'll turn off the background. So it's just the shape that we are seeing here. Now let's go back to our formatting of the card. So here, I want the top to be rounded. And then I want the top, this is the top left, and we want the top right. So you can also increase the roundness here. It's um, the same size. So when you click outside, you see how this looks like. So whilst the top corners are rounded, the bottom ones are not rounded. Okay, so depending on the type of design that you want to add to your visualization, this gives you all the formatting options that you can use, right? Now let's go back to the card. Or maybe I want the bottom to be rounded, but not as rounded as the top. So I can also use, let's say 6, and then do this side also 6. Okay, so when you click outside, this is how this looks like. Now let's make some progress. So with this shape, when you go to the card, we also have this option here, background. So you can also customize the background of the shape. Okay, so it depends on what you want. So I'm going to maintain my white. And then here we have border. So you can decide to turn off the border or turn it on. It all depends on your personal preference. Then we also have shadow effect. I'm going to turn on the shadow and you see how this looks like. Okay. Because of the visuals, you won't see the impact directly. So here we also have position. At the moment, the shadow is on the bottom right. We can change it and pick center. And this will add more impact to the shape for you to see how it looks like. Then color, you can also change the color of the shadow if you want to. So let's pick something like this. Okay, great. Then we also have glow. So you can also turn on the glow. That will add another layer of the color around the shape itself in terms of the shadow. This makes the shadow more pronounced, right? So we can maintain the same color as the color that we are using. Okay, so let's change it and make it the same color as the color of the shadow. So you see how this looks like. Now, the last thing we look at is the accent bar. So you can also turn on the accent bar and see how this looks like. Let's increase the width for you to see the impact. So this is the accent, right? You can also change the color of the accent here. Okay, it depends on the color theme that you are using for your visualization. Now, you can also change the position. So you can decide to let this be at the top and you see how this looks like, right? You can decide to make it at the bottom. You can decide to put it at the right, whatever option that works for you. So I want it to be at the top, so you can have it here. You can, like I showed you, you can customize the width. You can also adjust the transparency of it, right? So if you want it to be more subtle like this, then you can use it. Okay. Now you see how this looks like. So once we have it this way, I can resize it. And then the same way, let's customize the roundness a bit. So I'll go to the shape, the roundness, let's reduce it a bit to 14 and then 14. So you can actually adjust the size here. So I can use 14 pixels here. And you see how this looks like. I can select this, format, and then send to back. And I click outside. This is how this looks like. Now you see how this adds a bit of touch to the whole design. I can resize it just a bit here. Great. Now we can select it, right? For the other ones, we don't have to start all over again. You can just get a copy and then resize it for the other ones. So I can do it this way and then bring it here. Now, this is one of the things that you are going to encounter when you come up with this. Now, because we have glow and then we have the shadow, when you try to resize it to the edge, it has a limit to where it can go, right? Now, for you to still be able to do this, what we do is that you have to set the position manually. So you can go to size and style. And here we have the width of the shape. You can use this to increase the width. So you see that now it's getting closer to the edge. Okay. If you are trying to use the shape selector, you wouldn't be able to do it. By using this, it will be able to go there. And this is where we want it to be. So I can select this again, format, then I'll send it to back. When you click outside, this is how this looks like. Interesting. Now I can select this, Control C, Control V, or you can just use Control C since that is the only thing that we have copied. So once we have it here, it's perfect. So you go to format and then send to back. And then we have it here. I can resize this a bit. I click outside. And this is what we have. We are left to the last one, which is for this side. So I can do Control V and we have it again. So I can go here, resize it, and then pull this over here. So the same way, we can use this to increase the width. So it can go to places where we cannot go. So when you click outside, this is what we have. The top, I also want to customize the top a bit or the height. Okay, that's how far it can go. So let's reduce it a bit here. Okay, Then I'll go to format. Then I'll go to set to back or send to back. When you click outside, this is how this looks like. The only thing I need to do is to adjust my object here a bit for them to fit directly on the shape. Okay. Now this has some background. When you click outside, you see that this has some background. So you can select it. Okay. Then when you go to size and style, you can turn off the background. So it will adopt the background of the shape. Perfect. Now let's bring the icon here. And this looks great. What we need is this. So you can adjust these guys. Okay. Now click outside. And now you see how this looks like, right? So just leveraging the power or the flexibility of the card visual, we have added another layer of design to the dashboard. Now you notice that with this, the dashboard was already built and we are trying to add this in. But you most of the time you will do this at the beginning before you design your dashboard. And that is where you are going to work on the wireframe. So beforehand, you know how you want the look of the dashboard in terms of the layer and then the arrangement. So you can do this at the beginning before you start with the dashboard design itself. So for example, I can grab a copy. So let's say this is the page that I want to use for my dashboard design, right? Then I can set this up before I start working on the visualizations. So I have this one here, right? Then Control C, Control V, depending on how you want to set your layout. So I can set this up like this. Control C, Control V, and I bring it down here a bit. So that's how you'll be able to design your wireframe even before you start building. So I can bring this one here. And then finally, I need something for the header. So I can copy and then paste. And then we can bring it here, right? And you see how quickly we have been able to come up with this. Now, once you have this, you can adjust this for different designs, right? You can use it for different designs. Let's say I want something different. Okay, the same thing. Let's say this time I want something like this. Okay. And then I want something bigger at the bottom because of the item I want to display. I have to give it much prominence. I can bring this one here. So you see how easy and flexible this is. We can easily adjust it for different designs that we want to explore. Okay. Another way that you can also add some level of touch to your dashboard is to include icons. So for example, if you take a look at this, I have this, let's say logo of the company, right? So if you want to add image for flexibility, you can also make use of the card visualization, or you can just go to insert and then we have image. So you just pick the image that you want. So I have the image that I want here. So I just pick this and then click open. And then I have my image. I can resize it and position it at any place where I want to position this, right? So there are some website that you can go and get nice images that you can use for your dashboard. Okay. So you can go to Flutter Icons. All these platforms will give you free access to icons that you can include on your dashboard. Okay. The other thing that you can also incorporate to make your dashboard look great and the modern is to ensure alignment. So I've seen a couple of dashboards where things are not properly aligned. So for example, if you are looking at this one, not this one. Yeah. So let's say maybe this, you see some visualization will be here, another one will be up here. Like things are not properly aligned. Okay. Now Power BI also has the tools that will help you to ensure objects are properly aligned. So for example, this one is here, this one is here, this one is also here. If I want all of them to be at the same level, instead of doing this manually, which sometimes wouldn't give you the perfect alignment, you can make use of the align option that we have. So I can select these three shapes or these three visualizations. So I will do control, then select the other one and select this one. Then I can go to format on the ribbon. Then here you see that we have align. So I'm going to click and say top align. I want them to be aligned on the top. And I can pick top align. You see that now they are the same position. So I can bring them down here at the same time. So when you click outside, you see how this looks like. Now, in the course of designing your dashboard, sometimes after you are done, you make some changes and you have to move the objects around again. Now, at any point in time, I want these guys to move together. I can group them. So I can select this, hold down my control key, select this, and then select this. Then when you go to the same format, we have group, then I can group them. So if for any reason I have to move this, I move them together instead of moving them one after the other. So this is to help you to design quickly and then easily, right? Instead of doing things one after the other. They're the same object. I want to be able to move them together at any point in time, right? So I can group them as one object. So when I'm moving with them together. For any reason, if I need to bring them down, I'm just moving them together. So I can send it up here. Okay, great. Then the last thing that I'll talk about when it comes to designing modern dashboards is your visual interactions, right? So within Power BI, we can filter our data using slices. But aside using slices, the objects themselves or the visualizations themselves can also be used as slices. In fact, by default, they affect each other. Okay, so right from here, if I select something here, it's either highlight or cross filter the other visualizations. So when you select this, it's that it is affecting the other visualizations. The same way, if I select something here, is that it either filters or cross highlights the other objects that we have or the other visualizations, right? Now, sometimes this would distort some of the things that you'll be doing. Okay, so the best option is for you to make sure that you control how the visuals affect each other. So, for example, let me try. I'm sure I have turned off this. Okay, I've not turned it off. So let me clear the interactions. So if I pick something here, let me make sure that is not the case. Just give me a moment. Okay, yeah, that option is off from here. So by default, this is what you see. So for example, in this table, you see that we are showing analysis by group and then by country. So you see United States here. And then the other country. Our goal here is to be able to compare the performance across these countries. But take note of something here. If I pick United States, it filters this table, and this table is just showing me United States, which defeats the purpose of this table because this table is to help me to compare the performance across the different countries. But based on the country that you are going to select, you notice that this shows you just that specific country. Now, that's not what I want to achieve with this visualization. At any point in time, I want to be able to see the values for all the countries. So in this case, I need to be able to manage this relationship so it wouldn't be showing me just one country. So what you can do is that you need to select one of the visualizations, and then you go to the format on the ribbon, and here you see edit interactions. So by default, it will be off. So I have to turn it on. Once you turn it on and you select any chart or visual, you see that these icons will be appearing on the other visualizations. So what I want to do at the moment is to control how this chart affect the other visualizations. So I have to select it. Once you select it, I want to come here. This is where I want to edit it. You see that the filter is turned on. I don't want this to be able to filter this table. So I have to go and click on none. So when you do this, even though I have selected something, my table remains fixed. It remains constant. It remains the same because I don't want this to be able to influence this. But you can see that the other visualizations are moving based on my selection here. If I don't want this to affect this chart, then I can also turn it off here. So even though I have selected something, you see that the other chart remains the same, right? So always, once you are done with the dashboard, check this so that it will provide amazing experience for your users. A user picks something and then it clears something that he wants to verify. So use this to manipulate or control how you want your chart to interact with each other. So these are some of the few things that you can incorporate to take your dashboards to the next level. So we looked at how we can design backgrounds within Power BI. So we explored how you can customize the background of the report page itself, how you can use shapes to add another layer of design to your dashboard. We also looked at how we can also use the flexibility of the new card visual that we have in Power BI to take our reporting to the next level. We also looked at how we can add a bit of images to our designs, and then we also looked at how we can edit the visual interaction between the different visualizations that we have in Power BI. And I also took you through how you can design your own wireframes from the beginning, even before you start creating or building your reports and dashboards within Power BI. Okay, so thank you guys for being part of this. I'm going to end it here. If you have any questions, then I'll be ready to take it. Thank you. Some I can't hear you. I don't know if it's only me.
Oh yeah, sure. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a lot of gadget and things to push when you're doing the live stream. Apologies. Thank you so much for the session. Looking in the chat, they're raising any questions yet, but I want to engage you on on a different aspect of of the whole power platform ecosystem, and specifically on on Power BI. A lot of the times you've taken us through building, this UI and all that. In your journey into Power BI, what would you say was the most difficult part of it, or if you can just walk us through that journey?
Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, so getting started with Power BI for me, the journey was, I would say, smoother than expected because um, I started with Microsoft Excel. That was my background. I started with Excel, and then along the line, Power BI came. So it's not like I came and then Power BI. No, Power BI came whilst I was already in this phase.
Mm,
So the whole journey of Power BI actually started within Microsoft Excel. And that is why it made it easier for me because in Excel, Power Query was there, Power Pivot was there, whilst Power BI wasn't in the space already. It wasn't there. So we are having Power Query in Excel, we're having Power Pivot in Excel. And we used to have Power View that was
mhm.
also in Excel. So those three were already in Excel.
Yeah,
So the Power Pivot was to help you to be able to handle more data sets as compared to what Excel can handle. And then the
yeah.
Power Query also made it easier for you to connect to data from different sources and bring it into Excel for analysis. So along the line, Microsoft decided to take the Power Query, the Power Pivot, and the Power View, and then they
Mm-hmm.
came up with
Mm-hmm.
the Power BI. So when they were making that migration, they left the Power Query and the Power Pivot in Excel. So at the moment, we still
Mm,
have the Power BI and then the Power Query in here, but the Power View was taken out, and that was the interesting part of the whole thing. And that's the visualization thing that really got a lot of people into Power BI. So from there, the journey was smooth for me because I was already using the tools within Excel before the Power BI was actually finally came into existence. So from there, I jumped into it. But along the
mm,
journey, I teach people and all of that. And the area that most people don't really focus much attention on is the data cleaning and the data modeling, right?
mm.
Yeah, most people are more interested in the visualizations. So once they get the data, they just quickly load it into Power BI and they start building. But for you to be able to come up with robust data model, for you to be able to come up with a Power BI report that is faster and able to meet the expectations of stakeholders, is for you to have a strong data model. So how you
Mm,
build your data
mm,
model is what is going to influence how efficient and how um, your Power BI report is going to be optimized. when people are trying to interact with your reports, trying to find some insights and others. So if you're a beginner and you are starting, I would encourage you, whilst the visualizations are great, and in fact, this is what most stakeholders are interested in because that's the final product. They don't care
Mm,
about the steps or
mm,
the processes that you go through
yeah.
in designing. So whilst we are focusing on the visualization, try as much as possible to spend time to make sure your data is quality, you have a robust data model, so that if anything comes up, any question comes up, and you need to dig deeper into your data, you'll be able to find your insights easily. So that's the
Mm,
area that I would want people to focus more on when it comes to report development within Power BI, your data cleaning and your data modeling. Yeah. So that's
okay.
how the journey has been. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, we have a question. Let me see if we can put this on the screen for our users. Yeah, so Kweku Frimpong says that sometimes it's not easy designing the dashboard when there is pressure to produce a report. You are busy writing measures and cleaning data. In your experience, how have you managed or how have you dealt with this?
Okay. Yes. So the whole report development or the data analytics starts within a process, right? So you have a
Mm-hmm.
stakeholder that will make a request. Okay, let's say a marketing team or your head of marketing can say, okay, we need a dashboard that will be able to do this or that. For them, because they are not technical guys, they feel like, okay, you just pick the figures and you just dump it on the screen and everything is coming. They don't know the journey that you have to go through to be able to churn out those reports. So the key skill that you need is to know how to manage the expectations of your stakeholders. So
Okay.
this has to do with having communication with them. So fully understand what they want in the
Mm-hmm.
reporting. Then you
Mm-hmm.
as a technical person, you know how you have the process that you have to go through. So some will come and then tell you, oh, can you get this report to us in the next day? You know very well you can't deliver because you have to take your time. Whilst you want to deliver it on
Yeah.
time, you also
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure you are giving them something that is credible and reliable. So you have to let them know it will take through you go through a process. So can they give you like a week for you to be able to deliver something for them?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about managing their expectations from the beginning. Let them know this is how long it will take me to develop this report. Give yourself ample time. If you're able to deliver before the deadline, that is great. But a case where you have a short timeline to deliver and then you have to rush through, you go and they are presenting and then they are punching holes into your figures. You are going to lose your credibility as a data analyst, right?
Mm,
So take your
mm,
time, make sure the data is accurate, everything, you have verified everything before you give those insights to them. If you are quickly or you are quick to deliver the insight and they go and then the figures are not correct, things are not in order, trust me, they are not going to trust you again. And once trust becomes issue for you as a data analyst, that is it, right? So manage their expectations, let them know this is the process that it has to go through. It's better that way than promising them whilst you can't deliver, and then in the course of delivering within that short period, you end up giving them wrong insight and wrong figures. So just manage their expectations and make sure at every point in time, if sometimes you may give a deadline, but something might happen in the course of the data, like the data cleaning, you notice that no, things that you were thinking, they're already there, they are not there. So constantly engage them. This is what I have found. Instead of delivering on this particular time, this is how long it will take me for me to deliver this report. It's all about
mm.
communication. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very interesting thing. Setting the expectations right for your stakeholders. But in your experience, there is this notion, and yeah, Kwame was also saying that. I mean, he focuses more on the data preparation. In your role, as probably doing stuff on Power, have you had to work in a team or in teams where some people are really focused on the data cleaning, data preparation, and then pass it on to another team that does the visualization? Or in your case, it's just you, one person doing everything. What do you advise, or what do you believe is the best way to go about it?
Okay, that's great. Yeah. So personally, I have been the one doing end to end analytics, right? And I think it depends on the organization, like especially where we are. We have
Mm.
most organizations that who are like most organizations are the infants, like they have not really dived deeper into the analytics. When you go to some organizations that have been doing analytics for some time, they have specializations, right? So you go and then we
Mm.
have data visualization specialist. That's what the
Okay.
person focuses on. Then
Mm-hmm.
we have other data scientists, data engineers. So even the data that you need, you have someone who is going to make the data available to you. But most
Okay.
institutions in Ghana, in fact, where I have worked, sometimes you have to force them to adopt analytics. And for you to be able to do this, it means you have to do end to end. You can't go and tell them,
Mhm.
okay, this is what I can do. Can we get
Mm.
somebody who come and build the report? Nah, you have to do
Mm.
everything from end to end. So when you go to some big institutions, they have those specializations and everyone focuses on what he or she is good at. But at the moment where we are in Ghana, most institutions,
Mm.
you have to do end to end. So you do your cleaning, visualization, everything, because where I was actually the one who has that capability to do everything. Where I
Mhm.
work
Mhm.
currently, I'm the sole data and I don't have data team. So I'm the
Okay.
sole data analyst. So I pick my data, do everything from end to end.
End to
But if
end.
you find
Okay.
yourself in an institution where you have those rules already set up, then that is
Mm.
fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. And I was actually I was going to that side when you jumped into answering that the question about and let's look at Ghana perspective, right? So there, yeah, I know there's a notion that in Ghana, yeah, it's hard to find separated teams, but you made mention of things like a lot of organizations at some like do not really care about analytics or don't have time for analytics. um can you give us some insight into that?
Okay. Yeah. So when you go to some institutions, like from my personal experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are used to some way of working, right? So especially when you go to institution where you have big bosses and most of them like these old
Mm-hmm.
school
Mm-hmm.
guys like in
Mm-hmm.
charge, right? So they are used to some way of reporting, some way of consuming data, some way of making decisions. Most of
Mm-hmm.
them they use their own experience, their own understanding, their own intuition to make decisions without consulting or using data to back any decision. So if for
Yeah.
example a bank has presence in maybe 5 locations, they want to move to maybe
Mm-hmm.
Kumasi, they just feel like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how many banks are there? Okay, we have this bank, okay, let's find a location, let's go and then open up a location, and they are ready to go without doing research or backing some data. Okay, these are the numbers, these are the
Mm-hmm.
institutions they have, this is how the competition looks like. They don't have something like that. Once they feel like, let's go and then do this, then they are ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I found myself in an environment where reporting used to be Microsoft Excel. Now, even within Microsoft Excel, where I used to work, there was a report that we used to build for them. It was just called Excel tables. Now, at some
Okay.
point, we decided, okay, let's refine it, make it a dashboard
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
when they go, they can look at the visual. So we just dumped it as a sheet in the workbook, but we
Mm-hmm.
save it such that when you open the workbook, that will be the first page that you are going to see. So
See.
we put it there. We didn't inform anybody, but that's how we
Mm.
saved it. So obviously everyone will see it once you open the workbook. Now we
Mm-hmm.
did that for almost like 3 months. And then we decided, okay, let's take it out. And then let's see whether someone will call to file. I used to have this kind of report, but
Mm.
this time it's not there. So we took it off, and up to now, I have not gotten any. Nobody has reached out to me on that
Mm.
particular report. There was a time that we changed the reporting. So Excel has some like the
Mm.
cells where we have the grade lines. We decided to turn off the grade lines. One of the managers called my boss and said, "The report that you sent me, since this time you have changed it, I want it in
Mhm.
Excel."
Mm.
Just
Mm.
the grade lines that we turn it off so that you can just focus on the numbers. So
Yeah.
the key thing is most people are used to some way of reporting, some way of consuming data, some way of making decisions. And these people, they
Mm-hmm.
are very difficult to make changes, realizing that
Yeah.
the way we work has changed. And I think these are the people that we have in most institutions who are managing staff. So when you do the
Mm.
report, when you send it to them, it doesn't incite them. Just the new
Yeah.
managers that are coming in, those who have exposure to some of these new things, that are the ones who are pushing. So, for example, where I work currently, they are very open-minded. They are the ones who actually push you and say that we want this report to be BI.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
where I used to be, that wasn't the case. So gradually, people are now becoming like they are now realizing the importance of data analytics, and definitely we'll get there. Yeah.
we'll get there. We'll get there. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, some more questions coming in. Yeah, if you're joining us, this is the live cast for the Global Power Platform Bootcamp Accra edition. This started last week, but the Accra edition we couldn't start last week because we had other community engagement. So we're doing live. Just finishing his session is Festus Kujo. He's a Microsoft MVP, Microsoft MCT, and the lead for Fest Hub. I mean, all your data analytics training, they got you covered. He just finished, sharing with us how to build beautiful, beautiful dashboards using Power BI, everything within Power BI. He's just trying to answer some questions before we run out of here. There is a question about, do I need to be an Excel champion to be able to do Power BI?
Okay. No, you don't need to be an Excel champion. Though, if you're an Excel champion, your journey is like just 30% to catch up, right? If you are
Mm,
coming from Excel background and you have a strong external, it makes it things easier for you to really jump into it without even anyone guiding you through stuff. But it doesn't mean you need to come from Excel background before you can use Power BI. Okay. Power BI has four major pillars. Once you know how to use it, like how to connect data, how to use Power Query, how to do data modeling, and how to visualize your data, you are good to go. So they need to have Excel background. But once you have it, it makes things easier for you. But regardless of the background that you are coming from, Power BI is a very simple and straightforward platform that you can
mm,
easily jump into it and then you can start exploring your data right away. Just that it has some technicality. So as you go along, then you start leveling up in those areas. But for you to get started, very simple. Learn how to connect to data. The data connectors are already there. You just pick it. You don't need any coding experience or anything. Just the graphical interface. It opens your file. Just locate where you want the data. You bring it into it. Then it shows you the next level. Transform your data. You just click transform data. It takes you to a Power Query editor where just using the graphical user interface, you can transform your data. You come to your data modeling. I need to create relationships. This is not like SQL or Python where you have to write code to say,
mm,
okay, join this table to this. The tables are already there. Just drag the columns and you're able to create your relationships. If it's about DAX, even at the moment, we have Copilot in there that you'll be able to
mhm,
leverage to
mhm.
write DAX.
Yeah.
We also have quick measures, which Power BI
Mhm.
has already created the measures for you. Just pick the fields that you want, and then you are good. You are good to go. So it's a very simple platform that you can get started regardless of your background. But once you have Excel, it makes things easier. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Festus. Any last advice for us before we let you go, and we wrap it up with some tips and tricks and important. Any last words for us?
What I'll say is, you know how the space is changing rapidly. New
Mm-hmm.
technologies, new
Mm-hmm.
tools are
Mm-hmm.
coming in.
Yeah.
Now we just have to stay focused and then have a mindset that anything can change tomorrow, right? So you just
Mm,
have to have continuous learning mindset, continuously be learning. I started learning Excel back in school.
mm-hmm.
As at this
Mm-hmm.
moment, I'm still learning
You're
because new
learning.
things are coming in.
Yeah.
Now, Power
Mm,
BI, I started using Power BI way back. Now
mm-hmm.
I'm still learning Power BI. In fact, with Fabric inside, December, I got certified in Fabric because there's
Mm-hmm.
also a new technology, new things
Technology.
are
Yeah.
coming in. So just have to adopt that mindset to be able to move with the technology. You just have to open your mind and then be ready to learn. Things can
Yeah.
change the next day and then you don't have to be stuck. So just have that mindset and trust me, you are going to have a good journey because the tech world is changing and it's only
Mm,
those who have that mindset are the ones who are going to survive, right? Yeah.
mm,
Thank you.
mm. Yeah. Thank you so much, Festus. We will let you go now. Thank you very much for spending your time and sharing with us this very interesting session. So, till we come your, till we connect again, thank you for, for the time. I'll be reaching out to you more often. So, people, that was Festus who shared with us. the Power BI, right? Creating beautiful Power BI stuff, leveraging, your dashboard, creating stuff. Now, the two things are happening right now. There's something scrolling down if you look at it, which is the first 30 people to who are on the live to fill our swag request form here. You will see a QR code at the top right here, which says swag request. Scan it as a Microsoft form, fill it, give us some information, and then we'll reach out to you and give you say the swag. Maybe some people think I'm just kidding around. So you can see we have some beautiful Power BI. So here you have Power Series, which is the show I do on Sundays. There's a beautiful swag for that. You can see Dataverse, AI Builder, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, all is there. And then, if you are not a member of the Accra Power Platform user group, please do that. We have very beautiful, cool swags there for you as well. It's not just the stickers, all right? It's not just the stickers. We have this beautiful low coders t-shirt, right? You can see low coders. We have this beautiful low coders t-shirt. We have a lot of it to give away. This is kind courtesy of Donna and the team. Some time back, we're going to host Power Africa. Thank you for that. We also have some very cool notepads, Power Low Coders notepads and pens. So yeah, if you don't want to miss out on it, that is it. Scan the swag request. I will leave this here for a while whilst we jump into the next quick session before we wrap up. We are here till 1 p.m. GMT. So questing the next session for us will be by yours truly, myself. Yeah. So what am I going to talk about? A lot of you know me to do a lot of interesting things from IoT to Power Platform to Azure AI stuff and all the beautiful thing. But I'm more of a fusion person where I try to look at how do we fuse these technologies. If you've not seen me done demos like controlling IoT devices with Power Apps, then go check it out. I would give you. I'm here. My session is quite very simple. It's tips and tricks, reviewing the UI for those who have not seen the platform or used the platform. Mine is just going to walk you through that, and then how you can get started for literally or technically free as a developer who wants to get into Power Platform. Right, that's what I am here to help you do. So to do that, I'm going to share a few resources. Today we're trying to make it very hands-on. Yeah. So um we have decided, because of time constraints, what we've decided to do is that the series of content that we want to share within the Power Platform ecosystem, which is some tools, and we will be doing that on our sessions from time to time, so that you can benefit from it. So I'm going to jump into my session. I'm going to jump into my session, and then we can take it from here. So again, my session is going to be just a combination of sharing information with you on where to get stuff. And I always do, I like to use the original source from it. So let's get our screen running and let me know if we are live. And don't forget, I'm leaving this up here for you guys to fill up. Just a sec. I have just been prompted that I have left something out on the form. So I'm going to quickly put that there. Let's do this. But me people for a minute. I just need to. But in the meantime, you can please, You can share with us your questions, and we will try to help you with that. Let's see this. We're just trying to get this sorted. Okay, excellent. The change has been done. So um, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And there we go. All right, awesome, beautiful. So we can come back and bring you what I'm going to share with you. All right, so I am going to share with you what the Power Platform is. And remember, I'm still leaving the swag request, up there, top up there for you to, put it there. Just scan it, provide the information, and uh, the team will reach out to you, do the arrangement, and let you have them. Excellent. So my job here today is primarily to share with you what the Power Platform is, what benefits it brings to you, how you can use it, how it's driving stuff like that. And yeah, I will be sharing some content with you. To get started with this, I'm going to go ahead and let's hide this and share with you some content from the Microsoft team just to give us an overview of what the Power Platform is. And I'll come in with my tips and tricks on creating some useful Power Platform stuff. So stick and stay with me and let's get this rolling. All right. And let's be sure. Okay. Here we go. Excellent. So, as you can see, that was just a quick overview of the Power Platform and the value it brings. So yes, as you probably rightly heard in that video, the Power Platform is actually a suite of other packages that allow you to end to end build value, drive innovation across your businesses. So right from empowering your organization to develop solutions to automating your internal processes, that is where the Power Platform comes in. The concept of the Power Platform is a low code, no code environment that seeks to build citizen developers, or that seems to empower and engage your team to be very productive across the board. And that's what the Power Platform is. It comprises of the Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, the Copilot Studio, which used to be Power Virtual Agent, and I'm doing a whole series on the Copilot Studio um, starting next Friday. So these, and then well, Power BI as part of it, which is now moved into the Microsoft Unified Data Platform, which is Microsoft Fabric. These are tools that allow you to build applications, integrate or interface with your data, run automations, present this information, and get higher return on investment. Now, um so we saw why, what's the importance, right? Well, it's a cloud ecosystem. That means that you get that ability to connect and leverage the whole Microsoft ecosystem. That whole Microsoft AI intelligence capability is directly built into that infrastructure that you are using. Then again, AI capabilities, right? You speed up your development with embedded AI capabilities, which is right into it. And it is enterprise grade, right? It's enterprise grade, has allows you to connect to external APIs, your own internal APIs, and then you think of it. And then the integrated agentic experiences. So now we're moving away from just saying chat, because now they are agents. They are powered by the latest LLMs that are doing very incredible and and insane things. So most times there is that concern, and especially I'm speaking to because this is cutting across different experience levels. I'm taking it from someone who wants to get into it, in all the way to advanced users, people who are there and are looking for some kind of tips and tricks for it. And that is what I'm going to walk you guys through. So the first question, let's say getting into it, the first question is that um first of all, how do I even get started into it? How do I gain access into it? There are a couple of ways you can get into it. In generally, a couple of ways you can get into the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform development ecosystem that you can have access. The first thing that I would recommend is taking a look at the Microsoft 365 developer program, which allows you to gain access or sandbox access to a Microsoft environment that allows you to test things out. I have done a few sessions on this, and yeah, I would be glad to share that. But this, if you go to if you look for developer.microsoft.com, if you go to developer.microsoft.com, actually let me put this there so that you can we can review this. Let's go here to let's add a lower ted. Let's see here. There we go. So I'm putting this right here for you to um so that you can easily track that. So it's on the screens for you now to see. So if you go to this website, which is developer.microsoft.com, and you click on join, right? You join. It's going to ask you a series of questions and all that. Now, what are some of the benefits that you get? You're going to get Microsoft 365 E5 developer subscription that gives you access to the entire array of Microsoft licenses for you to test out. Now, once you are done, with this, once you're done signing up for this, the next one would be Power Apps developer plan, right? I know it's been integrated, but in some cases you don't have it, you don't see it directly integrated there, so you can learn on it. So if you go to the Power Apps developer plan, you can also start this free, right? When you start it, it will inquire from your you try to connect to your organization. Now this gives you um you know developers or freelancers for you to test out a lot of things in the Power Platform ecosystem. So learn easily allows you to you can explore all the use cases in there. So that's for the starting. For people trying to get into it, I've given you the two resources that you will need to allow you to get started. So that with that out of the way, let's look at the UI. Let's get into it. Let's see the various parts of it, and then we can cover some grounds before our session ends. I'm expecting another person to join the panel to have the conversation, and once he joins that, I would be I'll be glad to share that let the person join us so that we have some very interesting conversation. So let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead. I've already logged on to my organization here, so I can go all the way and move to my Power Up. Just for the sakes of it, you can do make dot power. You can do make the Power Apps, make the Power Automate, but I'm going to go to make the Power. I'll do power make.powerapps.com, and this allows me to go into the Power Apps or the Power Platform ecosystem, and we're going to see all the other aspects of it. There's been a lot of interesting additions into the Power Platform. So go to the new modding UI controls now. Some of the things that were just in preview are now general available for you to use. So here, this is and I'm trying the new experience, right? If for some reason, let me get my Zoom it running. If for some reason, right, you are not able to see this kind of UI, which you should see automatically, but if you don't see it, then look all the way to the top right here, and you should see a button that is asking you to try the new Power Apps experience. You can toggle that switch, and then it takes you to the new experience. So once you go, the couple of things to look out for in here. You have the ability to leverage generative AI to create your Power Apps, right? So here it would ask you to, just define, to use everyday words or English to describe what you want to create, right? I want to create Power Apps that, track sales lead, list inventory, money, whatever, just give it very information on what you want to achieve. And generative AI would go through the process of, how do you call it? We'll go through the process of creating it for you, right? On the left side, you have your navigations and actions. You can go ahead and say, hey, I want to create a new Power Apps. Or what you want to do is that you can go ahead and say that I want to learn more, and it's going to give you a lot of the links to Microsoft Learn, which is your one-stop shop to learn a lot of things or everything from the Microsoft ecosystem. Then here you can click on apps to see, hey, what are the apps that I have in my environment, and you can look, you can see all those apps in the environment. And then there is the beautiful AI hub, which you might probably know initially as your AI builder, which is here you can create your AI models or AI you can create your AI enabled flows or service or models, let's put it that way. And then you can now use them, right? You can now use these models within your Power Apps, your Power Automate, your Power Pages, and all the other Power stuff. You can do that. Now, beneath this, the other components that make up your Power Apps, right? This is your tables, your flows, your solutions, which is a good place to put all your flows, related apps flows, and all that in a solution. You see all of them here. And connectors. Now, one of the beautiful things about the Power Platform is that it has over almost 1,000 connectors, verified connectors, other community connectors. And what are connectors? Connectors are just your gateway to other services. So I'm building a flow. I want to be able to connect to Facebook, to Twitter. I want to connect some third-party PDF reader, some signature service, some other the connectors are there. There are pre-built connectors over hundreds of of pre-designed or pre-packaged connectors. However, if you feel that you are not having a connector to what you need, there you go. You can do custom connectors. On the left, you can create your own custom connector that you can use in your environment. For instance, in my case, I'm in Ghana right now, so I needed to be able to send SMS, and I didn't want to use Twilio, SendGrid, or the others. There's a local SMS gateway, and I leverage their APIs to create a custom connector for me That now allows me to integrate sending within my Power Apps, my Power Automate, all the Power Platform ecosystem. And then these are some of the universal things: AI models, gateways, cards, agents that you can create and more. Now, if you're not seeing if you're not seeing any of these things here, if you can't see connectors, choice, all these things in your view, if you can't see it, the easiest way to get them here is to go all the way down here. Below, you will find here more. This one, okay. I think it's time. Let's take out the overlays for now. So if you go to more, right, there you have them. You have those that have been pinned. All I have done is to pin these ones here. So if you want to pin something, you can go to discover all down here, and this is going to open all the other options for you to pin. And once you pin them, they're going to show on the left side for you. Don't hesitate to bring in your questions as we are going through the session. Kindly share your questions so that we can answer them for you. So that is on the on the overview power ups. If you look at the top right here, another interesting thing is that power ups almost all, and this is synonymous to all the Power Platform ecosystem. You can create multiple environments that allow you to develop and test your application. So you're looking at, you can do an environment for staging, an environment for development, an environment, and then your production environment, right? So that you allow your people to to make use of it. So back to the home, like I mentioned, I could easily describe, right? um let's try to use, first of all, let's try to use the AI here, or and then we can look at the other create options. Again, I'm just giving you a general overview of the various platforms that constitute the Power Platform, the various services that constitutes the Power Platform. And yeah, feel free to ask and bring your questions to it, and I would gladly share that with you. And whilst we are doing that, I need to also acknowledge our sponsors, and also remind you that on top here, let me bring this up a bit. Right at the top here, the QR code for your swag request is there. We have some very interesting swag, so make sure you scan, provide that information, and then my team will reach out to you to help you, to give you your swag. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to our sponsors, the Power Platform Global Bootcamp team, for making this a recurring event for us, and also the Accra Power Platform user group for hosting this year's event, and obviously Microsoft, Absoid, and MSDW, Microsoft Dynamic World, are the sponsors and the partners for this year's event. So let's get back into it. So we're gonna go here, and let's make this a bit down there somewhere, and let's get into it. So we're going to first of all try to create a simple application leveraging the generative AI option right here in Power Apps. So we're going to go ahead and say, I'll say, help me. And the most important thing is that the more details you give it, the better the outcome. So help me create a Power App, or let's say what, Canvas mobile, right, app that allows me to track my water intake, right? That's the first thing I need. um Actually, I know someone is going to exclaim and say, Sam, water, are you sure? We're expecting to have something like, yes, I know. So I'm taking my own words back. That helps me track my beer intake. Are you happy now? Yes, for those who follow me, they know that I have some fond laugh from taking my beer. So now I'm trying to be very responsible. I have automations, and yeah, if you go check a lot of my channel stuff, I have automations on how I detect whether my beer is finished in the fridge and how I can restock and approve our flow to my wife. I have all that. Now I need an app to help me track my intake of beer when I'm not in the house for the system to track it, but it would also record that intake. So help me create a canvas. Now here, these are the specifics I'm doing, right? I am being specific and saying that help me create a what? A canvas, right? So you can create a model driven power apps or a canvas app. And here, even for the canvas app, you can create it either for the tablet view, the desktop view, or the mobile view. And I'm being specific. So here, I'm throwing in the specifics for it, right? Allow me to track my beer intake and store the data in a SharePoint list. Okay. Now, somebody's saying, Sam, why are you saying SharePoint list? Well, I'm just being specific to say that put it in a SharePoint list versus a Dataverse table, right? Well, it's just a very simple application. I'm not looking out for all the advanced options that exist in Dataverse. I'm just doing something very simple. All right. Um, this app should also have the functionality, let's see, functionality to collect the type of beer and the location or venue, the venue I took the beer, right? Um, let's say, you know, so let's say on the landing page of the okay, so I've reached my limit for it. No, okay, so yeah, so I reached my limit for it. But anyway, so this is good enough information to get it started. We have a question here. Be a god. Kwame, I'm not Kuku, I'm not a beer god. It's just relatable. Okay. So once you set this up, let's click on the play or the run. And what's going to happen is that, yeah, so this is hands off. I'm not doing anything, or there's nobody under the table clicking and pressing things to do anything. It's pretty much giving that information to him, the generative AI, and the generative AI is going ahead to to create and do all these things. So it's not nothing. It's not like I have done anything. All right. So this is what has happened. You see what, if you look to the right, if you look to the right here, you see that. Let me make it a little visible for my viewers. So it started, hey Samuel, what can I help you with? Create, import, describe. And then it went ahead to say, hey, this is what I said. Help me create, as you can see, which is hidden behind my image. So that's what I did. Now, look at what it did. The first thing the AI did was that it's suggesting that there are three tables, three lists that you would need, right? You would need a location, which would have a location name. So let's say if I go to Waves, or now what's even the name? Yeah, well, whatever. I go to whatever spot I go to, it has, the name and the address, right? And then it also has the beer. What type of beer did I take? So if I what's the beer name, as everybody would know, is club beer, right? I took club beer. So let's say club beer, and what's the type, whatever type it is, I put it there. And now the intake, right? So the beer intake, the beer itself, the location which is connected to this, the date I took it, and the quantity which has to be changed. Maybe it's an ounce or whatever that is, that can be tracked from here. Now this, okay, this is the generative AI suggesting or giving me this information, right? I need to make changes to it. Go ahead and make the changes. If I want to say that, hey, this is fine, let's go for it, I can go ahead and say, you know what, just save and let's do it. So yeah, I'm just saying, go ahead and do it. Now, this is one way to create a power up. There is also another way to create a power from Figma or from a sketch. You can draw the sketch of how you want the application to look like, upload that image on the sketch onto Power Apps, and then Power Apps will try to scaffold and build the application based on the sketch. I'll quickly walk through that as well, share it so you can see how that works. Now, again, I'm giving you guys an overview of how to create all these things, and then I'll delve into probably answering any specific questions before it's time for us to get out of here. It's Saturday, so you can go drink beer or figure out what you want to do for the rest of the day. But primarily, that is how the experience is almost the same if you were to do a Power Automate Copilot Studio, any of those things. The process is quite similar as well. So let's go. So it's done that. It's coming back to me. Hey, this is it. Let's go. Let's do this. There we go. And so here it's scouted, it's building it up, it's setting everything up for me, and I should see this in a bit, in a bit, in a bit, in a bit. And yeah, drop your questions as well, because this is supposed to be a very interactive session. So hopefully from the next bootcamp, we're going to have it more hybrid. So there's going to be the in-person, and at the same time we're also going to stream it for people who can join us. But for now, we're sticking to this for now. And again, your swags, don't forget your swags are up there. So there you go. Beer. So I have the welcome screen, I have the beer, the location. So this is being scaffolded. There's the beer, there's a location screen, right? And it even it's trying to put, hey, these are the various locations that you can leverage. And then the beer intake screen. So this is where I say, hey, I took Guinness, there's a quantity, 3, whatever I took. And then so every intake is going to be tracked as a record that I created. So go ahead, and the welcome screen, actually, let me close this here and run, and there you go. So so click on it. This is the beer. These are the various beers. I don't see my beer here, so I'm going to go ahead and click new, and it's called Club Beer. And beer type, yeah, it's a lager. Just make it lager beer. Yeah. Okay. And it's a lager beer. And then I'll click on save. And now my club beer is here. Super. Now I could do a couple of tweaks to this thing. So now I can go back to the home and say my beer intake. Now it didn't add the images and all that there, which means I can just go ahead and update it again. I'm not trying to create a very fanciful application. I'm just showing how this is done. So I can go ahead and say intake, create a new intake. I'll say today is, so I'll say Power Platform Bootcamp 2025 celebration, celebration, right? And let's say I took about 3 bottles of beer, and the location, say tavern, and then I took club beer, and it was today at, what's the time now? I can say about 12:40, let's say 12:40, 12:42, which is the time now. And then okay, yeah, I didn't, it's today. There we go. So now specify it. Oh, I put, okay, it didn't see me pick the date. So select the date. Okay, there you go. And then we save this, and that's it. So now you can see my beer intake has been registered here. All right, the beer intake is registered here. Now, the beautiful thing is that let's take a look at this. Okay, what if in let's go ahead and look at the beer intake, right? So let's look at what tables have been connected. So you see here, it's connected it to. So I immediately see something here. I told it to use SharePoint list, but then it used database. No problem. I could, and that's I'm saying that on that first page, I could have controlled and changed that, but I'll stick to it now. Follow me here, people. Follow me here. Just stick with me now. The beer intake table, right? This is the table that is taking or storing my beer intake, right? So anytime I put a beer intake there, is going to, store it in the beer intake table, right? Now, remember this for something, and I'm deliberately saying remember this for something. We'll come back to it very soon. So primarily, this is as simple as it takes. Let me make sure it's saved. So this is very simple as it is. If you want to build an app, right? So save the changes, and then I'm going to walk you through all the how do you call it? All the I'm going to walk you through. Sorry, guys, I'm laughing because I'm coming to do something that's very crazy. So I'm I'm going back to 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 the create, right, to the create app screen. So here you can see that app is here. It's just called app. Let me see if I can, let's do this. Okay, we know it's just app. We'll just leave it here. Now I mentioned that you could also go to create, right? And then under create, you can see you can create a blank application. You can create from a database table, a SharePoint list, an Excel file. You can connect it to an SQL database, right? On-prem and also in the cloud. And this is what I was talking about. You can literally, right? You can literally send an image, upload an image, and then Power app would create it. Or you can have start from Figma. For our UI people, you can create the designs in Figma and then upload it, and then Power Apps will do that for you, right? So that is it for Power Apps. Now let's quickly go to Power Automate. So I'm going to click on the menu here and move to Power Automate, right? Beautiful. Now, Power Automate is also another product under the Power Platform, right? And what this allows you to do is it gives you the opportunity to create business process flows or integrations, right? So you want to you want to do something when an event, you want to process something, you want to create an automation, that is what Power Automate is. It has a sister application called the Power Automate Desktop that allows you to do run automations locally on your machine, and you need to get the right license for it, right? So in the same way, if you look at it, Microsoft has done a good way to maintain the consistency, right? So here you can create a flow, right, end to end as well. So here you can realize there's the same thing. I can create, I can learn, I can see templates, solutions, process, all these things which are almost synonymous copy of things you could see there, but this time related to creating flows. Now, enough of the talk. What am I going to do here? Remember, I started laughing when I created that. What if, what if now I'm going to say that anytime, right, I go somewhere and I drink beer and I put it in the system, what if I want my boss, my partner, someone, a friend, whatever, to know that I have taken beer? How do I do that? Right? Thanks to Power Automate, we can achieve this in Power Automate, right? And I'm going to do that now to create that automation for you. So let's go ahead in the same way. I'm going to click create at the top left. I'm going to connect it. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to create automated cloud flow. Now, what are the differences from this? So automated flow here, let's do this. I just want to make sure you're seeing what. So automated cloud flow is triggered by an event, a designated event, whether it's in your data tables, it's, an external API, a webhook that can be triggered. An instant flow is something you trigger manually. Like I want to click a button, I want to initiate it. I want to be the initiator of it. Then a scheduled flow is one you choose how and when it flows. I can say every Monday at 12 midnight, I need you to create a report of all the beer I drank over the weekend, put it in an Excel file, or use it to create a very beautiful dashboard that that Festus showed us how to create. Put it in that dashboard. Let me present it for me to see the trends and analytics in that. Maybe you're drinking too much beer. Slow down. Take some, healthy juice and stuff like that. And you can talk about the other part, which is desktop flows, like I mentioned, which allows you to do business process automations, right? Or what you want to do is, automate processes on your desktop or, environment. And then process mining, right? So this evaluates and optimizes processes and helps you create a flow out of it. So we're going to go ahead here. If you look here, there are a lot of samples, right? To walk through it, there are templates and samples from follow up on a message, schedule a reply, save to one note, a lot of it. And you can see a lot of the connect. Remember, I made mention of custom connectors that if I want, if what I want to do, I don't have connectors here, I can create my own custom connectors, and that is going to be achieved today. I'm going to share that with you pretty soon. So let's do this. I'm going to show you this. So let's go ahead and stay with me. It's just going to be funny. So what is, again, everything begins with what are we going to do? We're building a flow that anytime I have a beer intake, it should send a message to someone to say, hey, this guy was here and is drinking some beer, right? Has drank this amount of beer. So let's see how we do that. I'm going to go ahead, create automated flow, and I'll call it the beer gossip. I'm calling this a gossip because it's the one that's going to gossip about me taking beer. And here you have the concept of the trigger. So I'll go and look for database. So when row is added, modified, or delete, and I will go ahead and create this. Now we started talking about it as being low code, no code, right? Low code, no code, low code, no code, low code, no code. This is because we're not going to write any code to do this. It's going to be more of a visual interface where we drag and drop, right? We drag and drop and then provide settings and configurations to be able to do this. So I select here, it's asking me what is the change. I only say when a record is added. We have the option to say when it's added or deleted, when it's deleted or modified, any of these options. But in our case, it is only when Samuel drinks beer. And what's the table? Remember, beer intake, right? Beer intake. Remember, I can literally start typing beer intake. So I can let's do this. Do you see it? Beer intakes. That's why I said take note of that table that was created for us. And as you can see, that is shown here. And yeah, I want to use the organizational, which means all the data. I'm just making sure I'm selecting all the columns. You can also filter rows with a data filter as well, if you choose to. So I'm going to do this, and now this setup. So what this does is saying that anytime there's a record into the beer intake, what are we going to do? Remember, I mentioned that in our simplest form, and I'm going to do this in a very simplistic way, the simplest of form, all we are going to do, right? All we are going to do is just to say that, hey, send an SMS to a certain number to say that someone is drinking beer somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the variable, right? And I'm introducing a variable to store the number, right? So I'll call this var phone number, and this will just be a string, and I'm going to initialize it with the number, and there we go. So that's it. So this initializes a phone number to which I'll be sending to it. So what's going to happen? So when it's created, now I'm going to custom, right? I'm going to go to my custom connectors. And you will see immediately that my custom connector called Hoptel that allows me to send SMSs, right, is available for me to select. So all I'm going to do is we only have the send message action. and that's it. So it allows me to provide the to and then the content, right? So for now, I need to do something here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a compose, and I'll do a compose here, right? And this compose is just for me to compose the message I want to send. And there are different types of, there are different types of actions you can use. So what am I going to compose? I will say hello. Um, I will say this. This is how I'm going to say it. Beer gossip time, two exclamation. I'll say Samuel is out at. Now, remember the table had the location and all that information, right? So I'll go here. This is what we call the dynamic data, allows us to get information. So look at this. It's saying that it's giving me the location, right? So I'll say that Samuel is out at this location. Uh, Drinking many. We have the beer, right? The beer intake. Let's see. Da da da. So we have here the beer, the value, the intake. So let's say drinking. Let's go here, right? Drinking dash bottles off, and then I'll go here, and then the intake, the beer name. I believe so. All right. And then I'll save it. So this is the compose is the message that I'll be texting out. Then now when I come to send the message, I'll go ahead and say show everything. So the two, I'm going to pick. Let's go here and I'll pick the, where is that? Let me save this first so that all that is moved around. So I hope you're following, right? So building upon it, there's an app that allows me to store data. There is now an automate or a flow that allows me to process and work on the data. And then from here, we can look at Power Pages where I can build like a home internal or office dashboard or dash internal communication inside that display. Or I can now go to the Copilot Studio and create an agent that someone can interact. Hey, how many beers has Sam taken in the past 1 week? Right? Anyway, we'll look at that. And then I can actually go ahead and also create another flow that does different things, right? And we'll see how that functions. So let's go ahead and go to our compose. So here, it is interesting. See more. I am not seeing. Hold on, guys. Let's see. So we initialize this as the phone number. String, the value is there. We have our compose, which is here. And now our send. Let's go ahead and set the dynamic. Interestingly, it's not showing. Oh, there is quantity here. I missed it. Pa, 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 pa. Interestingly, it's not picking the phone number directly. I'm not sure what's happening with this, but let me save this again. And I think I may have to. Okay, let me. The compose is at drinking. So this drinking this. I need to change this and maybe do. Yeah. So there you go. Drinking. Let me change this. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. All right. Now, our two is interestingly not. See, okay, don't worry. For the sake of time, I'm going to put this number here. And then for the content, I'm going to say, okay, see, look at that. Look at that. So for the content, I'm going to say the output of the compose. I'm not sure why this didn't see it, but I think there's something going on with what's there and all that. Anyway, so these are the two, right? So we do this. Now we can save. So now let's test it out. Okay, we're going to test this flow out, and let's go ahead and bring in view my phone. So we're going to go to, let me open up Reflector. Oh, so there we go. So I'm bringing up an app that allows me to cast my, it allows me to cast my screen, my phone. All right. No, 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 not remind me later. And once this is open, I can go ahead and cast. And that means that, just a sec, people, I need to make sure that both my phone and my my computer are on the same, there we go, are on the same network, so that it can see it and allow me to cast from my phone to it. So there we go, it sees it now. And so that's it. 8224. That's the join code. Okay. So now you can see that my phone is on the screen. Just give me a sec here. Let me go into my messages. Let's see. Okay. So now I have my phone there, and we're going back to the app, and let's go to our home. This was our app. We're going to play it. And now I'm going to go ahead and put test here, manual test. So that's going to say it's waiting. I'm just enabling it, right? So it's waiting for me to perform the activity. So our app is running. So here, beer intake, actually location, I'm going to change this to, home for now. So I'm going to go to locations, and I'm going to add my location. Okay, so this is home, and address would be Accra, Ghana, and then I'll save this. So home is there now. Then we can go back to the home, and then beer, right? Now I'm going to create a new intake, and beer intake, right? So home, live stream, drinking on the job. So let's say 3 bottles of club, at home, and this is happening today, right now, at almost about 1 p.m. And then I'm going to create this. Now, this has been created, right? It's being created, it's being added to the beer intakes, and at this point, something just happened. So I'm going to let me go ahead and show you. And sorry guys, I'm using a corporate SMS, so I need to hide some things that are not acceptable for you to see. So as you can see, this is the SMS I just got. It says beer gossip time. Someone is out at the location drinking 3 bottles of. So yeah, I need to sorry guys, I need to properly break down, because there are relationships. I need to properly break down and fix the, how do you call it, fix the column name, so that you can actually get information. But you get the drift. So beer gossip time, someone is out at, so the location, I would have done that, drinking 3 bottles of what? Of the beer, the said beer. This is just an aesthetic thing I'm going to feel. But are you following? An event happening somewhere through an app it sent an SMS. This is just one use case of it. I just decided to send an SMS as the use case, right? It could have been send an email to the office, right? It could be send an email to the office. It could be initiate another process. It could be the possibilities are what are endless, my people. They're endless. Now, with still respect to time, that's this is the interesting thing. We started at 10 a.m. And yeah, 3 hours, which we set to, we have set to have finishes in 3 hours. um Let me quickly just walk you through the other aspect of it. So as you can see, this walks you through the part of the flow. So if I open this up, I would have seen it ran here. This was information. And again, guys, to fix that issue we saw, which was just showing the raw information, right? I would have just gone ahead. Actually, let's go and look at this. Look at this. Um, yeah, the information would have been here for me to infer, get the location, get the name, and do that. But that would be your homework. I'm going to still do Nasaka's word. I'm volunteering you to go and do that homework. Yeah, Kuku, Kuku, this is awesome. This is just one experience. So now, if I drink beer and I enter it, okay, it automatically send a text message to whoever is policing me, right? And maybe if I need a designated driver, this person would come to my aid. But that is just an example, a basic example, of it. So now let's go to the next one. If we had wanted to do it again, you can just go to the top left, do this, and we can go ahead and look at it from where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Um, Come on. Okay, more apps. You can do this. Da da da. There you go. Okay. So here I'm trying to find my other applications. Quite, where is that? Where is the Power Pages, my apps, my okay, there you go. So I'm just going to open this in a new tab. And yes. So here, this will be Power Pages, other side of it. So from here, I need to use Edge. So let's get out of here. Let me copy this out of here. Open our Edge and bring this in view. And yeah, guys, feel free to drop your questions in here for us so that we could get this running for you. Let's do this. Bum, 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 bum. Let me do this. There we go. Let me provide. No, that's it. Let's do this. Go ahead and securely log in. Okay. There we go. And this should give us, there you go. All right. Okay. Let's do this. So here you can see that here pages, I can go ahead, get started, create the page, and decide to pull whatever information I want to pull in, as needed. And because I've already logged in, I can also add stuff to it. Now, let's do, fortunately, no. Let's do this. Copilot Studio. Unfortunately, I'm not sure time would permit us. Just a sec. Okay, so I'll just go ahead to do this. Yeah, and it's just going to check. It's just going to try to check out um some. It's going to check if I already have I already have how do you call it? If I already have that information, I have already set up an environment to an instance, which I have, and it's actually trying to run how do you call it out of. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm not a robot. It's working. Pick the square to show two identical. What are the identical ones? It looks like what? Pick one square that shows two identical objects. Okay, so this one shows an identical object. There we go. I already have an account, so if I try to do this in one way, but this will be hard. If you want to try it for free, yeah, sign up and walk through the same process, right? So let's do this. And yeah, it says I already have a corporate account, so it's going to try to put me in there. Okay. And yeah, you already have a license for it, so get started. So let's go ahead here. And for now, yep, I'm already signed in. So let's do this. Let's wait for it to load. And yeah, guys, give me a few more minutes so that at least we can see this. And I, unfortunately, for the sakes of time and respecting virtual event fatigue, we would end live stream. But I promise you, we would, like I'm saying, as part of our engagement, community engagement, and what we do, we would go ahead and do this and share it. If you want to catch up, just connect with me on any of my how do you call it, any of my social media handles, and then I'll try as much as possible to walk you through that demo as well. Actually, I can use that as the first case for our Friday session, right? So it gives you some information, and then so this is the new Copilot Studio, which used to be the Power Virtual Agent, but now you can describe your agent right here and give it specifics. Again, I can say that, hey, you are an agent that helps me query and have information about the beer intakes, and that will try to connect it to it. So again, you can either specify it here, or you can go ahead, click on create, and walk through the process of creating a new agent. As here, there are samples here for you to look at. And in order not to, I'll just, whet you up. Just trying to, let's try to use the let's see, the generative AI one, but I won't go into details because I'm still, be respectful of our time here. I'm gone past 12 minutes, but so here we will say that you are you are an AI assistant that helps track um, beer intake and answer questions based off the data in the, and here remember, right, let's go here, remember the table, right? So if I go to tables here, and you need to be specific, right? The more specific you are with it, the better options it gives you. So I'm going to go to custom, and there's what, beer intake, right? And you see it has a logical name which is good to refer to it. So so I'm just going to keep this to the side here so I can refer to it whilst I'm typing. You're an AI assistant that helps track beer intake and answer questions based on the data in beer the beer table, the beer intake, and the location tables, right? Um, you'll be asked questions like how many uh, bottles of beer consumed, where the most beer was consumed, and what is the preferred beer type. All right. And all this is happening, you know, declaratively. And again, it doesn't mean that that's the only way to create it, but all I'm using is leveraging, you know, the generative AI side of it. And you realize that I'm being specific. And also, one thing you notice is that if you look at the top, right, the environment remains the same. So my flow is in the same environment, my app is in the same environment, it's also in the same environment. All right. So we do this and then we hit allow Copilot to do its thing. So it's going to go ahead, scaffold, do all that, all the craziness. Um, and once waiting for that to happen. So here it's asking us what name do you want to give it. We're going to call it the beer agent, right? If I want to change the icon, I can. You know, so description, uh, beer, uh, AI assistant that helps in the beer intake management, right? I mean, here you can be, and you see here, this side is where you need to be very, very descriptive, right? We need to be very, very descriptive. And you can also add, you know, very descriptive. So, and this is how you know, this is the behavior, right? You will be asked to give information about the beer intake and intake. So hold on, let me see. You'll be asked to give information about the beer intake, the location, the preferred beer, and the most beer taken, right? You need to do this in a fun and interesting way. Have a very, well, let's say a fun and interesting tone, right? from time to time when engaged. Let me get this. Engage. Start by greeting them by saying a funny beer quote, right? Um, yeah, let's just. But here, this is where you have to be extremely detailed, right? And then what would be some of the startup prompts? So here I can say, um, let's say we can say we'll say hello. I'll just say, hey, beer buddy. And we'll still probably say hi and say, beer agent, howdy. And I'll use a popular Ghana term, which will say how far. I'll just say how far, beer agent. And then let's do another hello. And then we can do, yeah, I've already done this. Let's do hey. And then I'll do a prompt that says hello, beer agent, right? So we'll just do this to save just a few of them. And then the knowledge base. Now, this guys, this is not a detail. This is just an overview for people to do. Like I mentioned, I'll be starting a series next Friday on just the AI co-pilot journey. You can follow me more details of it. So here are the knowledge. So this is where you are going to ground it, right? Ground it with the knowledge and the information is going to use. This is going to use a base model, right, of its choice, but just going to get say add knowledge. And here, as you can see, I can add public website, SharePoint. Why is this disabled? Okay. Yeah. So I think I'll just go ahead and create the knowledge and then I'll add it to it. As of now, I'm not pointing to any database. The data is in the SharePoint side. So let's go ahead and click on create for now. I can always come back and add, that knowledge. I'm going to add the SharePoint tables, which I referenced, right, in that description, so that it is connected to that and is able to give me all that information I need. Um, so here, the beer agent is go ahead and add knowledge. So select dataverse, and then in the table, look at that. You see that almost immediately, guys, look at this. Almost immediately, Copilot realized that, hey, recommended by Copilot. Oops, sorry. Copilot almost recommended that, hey, there is for us to add the beer table because you made reference into it, right? And this is how important, this is the power, right, of leveraging, the AI stuff. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and add the beer one. We have a lot more to add, so I'll just go ahead and type beer here. So there's a beer intake. And what's the last one? There's location. And yeah, there you go. Location. So next. So you see, this is the beer. Everything in the beer. If I go to the beer intake, everything in the beer intake. If I go to the location, everything in the location. Right. So good. Our data source is solid. I'm not going to add any, like I said, we're just going to add these and then move on. Right. So we've created by just using generative AI, telling it what we want to do, grounding it and adding the knowledge. Now it's here. All right. So moment of moment of truth, right? Here you can add triggers, right? You can also set up your agent to activate when setting events happen, just like we saw in the flow, but that is not the case of it, right? For this, we feel that this is going to be an interactive thing. So maybe is going to be deployed as an agent in our Teams channel to know the amount of water everybody's taking. And look, I'm using beer just as an example, all right? But this could anywhere be tracking people's hydration levels in the office. So you could put a whole IoT system there. Anytime someone takes water, you're able to tell the number of pints and stuff like that. At the end of the day, you can tell, hey, this is the hydration level of everybody, and maybe send them messages. Hey, you need to hydrate. You need to get up. Look, you can just go crazy with whatever you want to do with it. So let's give our agent a test. I'll just go ahead and say, uh, hey, beer buddy, and let's see what happens. I just sent this, right? It's retrieving information. Um, and sorry, guy, as I have to take off my ladies and gentlemen, we're way past Accra or Global Power Platform Bootcamp Accra 2025. It's being me helping you create. And as fair, we started with creating a Power BI dashboard, went to custom, and then I came in to give you an overview, of how to create your basic apps, create a flow, and now created an agent, to which we still need to fine tune a bit. But that's what time will give us. We also being mindful of virtual fatigue, being live on this for the past couple of hours. I just want to remind you that the QR code is here for you to request your swag, and we have also gone ahead to, again, it's the same thing. Thanks for joining, but just scan, and there's a picture of the swag you see there. We have, and I can still show them here. We have some very interesting stickers. We have more stickers, and we have here some interesting we have a beautiful low coders t-shirt, again courtesy of Donna and the team. We also have some very beautiful things, notepad and pens to give out as well. So feel free to do so. In the next couple of, let's say, probably in the next minute or two, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. We'll try to answer that before we call it a day. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining our live stream, and Jomas for joining. And again, let's give big credit to our sponsors. Let's give credit to our sponsors, credit to our sponsors. Thank you to the Power Platform Bootcamp team, the global team. A big thanks to the Accra Power Platform user group for hosting this, and then also obviously Microsoft Absorbed and the Microsoft Dynamic World for being the main sponsors for this event. We're grateful until we come your way again next year for another global bootcamp. It's not the end of it. Join me every Friday and Sunday as we talk about Power Platform stuff and talk about technology. And yeah, let's have fun. Let's learn together. Let's grow the community. And enjoy the rest of your Saturday or whatever day it is where you find yourself. Let's make peace. Let's go ahead and make the world a better place through whatever we do. We do it through technology. We do it through microtechnologies. I'll come your way again next time. Be safe. Be safe out there. And then if you feel like being, asking more questions, feel free to hit me up on any of my social media channels. And if you're in Ghana, make sure you join the Accra Power Platform user group, where we share all the knowledge about Power Platform. Until we come your way again next year, it's not over all the way to next year. Join us on our monthly virtual meetups. Join us on our streams, on the weekly streams, as we share a lot of the Power Platform goodness with all of you. With that said, I'm ending this live from our studios here in Accra. I'll catch you again